You're listening to the CIP podcast, the Study Abroadcast Season 2. I'm your host, Mike LaFleur, an Education Abroad Advisor with the Center for International Programs. In this show, we explore the world of study abroad, offering advice, insights, and travel stories, bridging perspectives and cultures along the way. On this episode, we'll be speaking with a travel insurance specialist from GuardMe. Let's get right into it. Today on the show, we are pleased to welcome Lucia. Lucia, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your professional background with GuardMe Insurance?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here today and tell our listeners a little bit about GuardMe. My name is Lucia. I was born and raised in Colombia. So I came here about 4 years ago, as an international student to Canada. That was my first experience into the Canadian life. And my background is in communications. And so I settled here, I got my family here, and I started in the ESL industry about 20 years ago. I was a student counselor, answering questions to students, of course, the incoming students arriving in Canada. And then I moved into the recruitment arena. I travel all over the world, recruiting students coming to Canada. And then I switched gears to a marketing and sales position. So I've been at GuardMe for about 8 and a bit years as an account manager. So my job at GuardMe is to answer questions to our partners, institutions in Ontario, both for those having inbound students coming to Canada, as well as, for example, University of Guelph that has this program as an outbound mobility and sends students abroad for their experience, education, and work and travel, and so many other programs.
I think it's interesting that you bring that lived experience and knowing what it's like to be abroad yourself. I think that sense of empathy would be there when dealing with students in foreseeable, stressful situations.
Absolutely. I do understand because it happened to me, right? It happened to me for at least 4 to 5 years, my first 4 years here in Canada. So I know what they go through. When I was recruiting, I always told their parents, I told them what the experience is about, what they need to look for. And that's why me sitting in the insurance side, I have a better understanding of their needs and some of the challenges that they might face once they are in a new culture, in a new country, in a new environment. So I think I have a little bit of a sense of what their challenges might be, so I can give a little bit of advice.
So in terms of those challenges, specifically within the insurance industry, why do you think it's important for students to have comprehensive travel insurance?
That's such a great question. Insurance is one of the aspects that the students don't really care about when they are planning the whole trip, their whole experience abroad. And I see this all the time. It's a nuance. It's another extra cost that they have to add into their equation. And what they don't actually understand is when we go to a different culture, a different country, if we are going to, for example, a country that has a stronger currency, we all get sick. Let's face it. We all get a cold, we all get a flu. This is just a common denominator. But nobody is really counting on an emergency or an accident. And I've been at GuardMe for 80 years, but before that, I've been with partners of GuardMe. So it's been 20 years that I've seen these situations. And there are very sad and tragic experiences that I'm not going to say everybody happens to live, but you don't want to be one of those people. Let's say it's a risk, it's a liability that you want to take out of the equation to actually enjoy and have a great experience abroad. So if it's going to cost you X amount of money and have that peace of mind. So if you ever get sick, if you're getting an accident, that's covered, that's been taken care of. You don't have to call mom and dad or family members and, hey, can you please wire me money because I really have nothing to pay for this huge bill. It's a big relief. So I think it's important for students that understand that bad things do happen and we don't want them to happen, but it is a risk, a liability that we want to remove from the whole experience of traveling abroad.
I think for a lot of students, they think this will never happen to me, or you hear about these horror stories, but you never think that that's going to be you in the situation. But I think it happens a lot more frequently than students might consider it.
It does. You know what? That's a very sad and unfortunate situation. As I said, we all believe that we are invincible and unbreakable between the age of 18 and 30 some, I would say. And then we start realizing when we grow in experience that actually bad things do happen in very unfortunate events. So as I said, it's better to be safe than sorry. And it's always about the risk tolerance. And I think that's why it's so important that University of Guelph has mandated the students to get these plans, so this policies, so they are actually taken care of ahead of time if anything happens to them. So it's about making sure that the whole experience, the whole traveling abroad, the education piece, the experience, the work, if something, whatever they are doing, the objective is it comes to a completion without a hiccup, right? So that's what I can say is, you know what, I always say it's better to pay the fee and forget about it. And if it happens, you are taken care of. And if it never happens, you know what, is the money best spent. And as a mom, of course, you grow in age and then you get a little bit more worry about things. But I will, at any time, just invest the money in insurance because it's a peace of mind. I can sleep at night. And I think it's important at the end of the day.
I would agree. I think that peace of mind is just important to have when you're traveling abroad. I know that when you're traveling, life can be stressful as it is, but definitely having that backup plan in case something does go wrong certainly helps. And as you mentioned, University of Guelph students are required to purchase GuardMe insurance for any traveling outside of Canada as part of their degree. Generally speaking, what is included in the coverage and what makes it so comprehensive?
That's a very great question, Mike. So GuardMe has put together two comprehensive plans for the University of Guelph students that are going abroad. We call it the Global Plan A and Plan B. And basically, these plans will cover the student 100% of the charges or the cost for any medical emergency. For example, visit to a doctor, to a hospital, travel assistance. I don't know where the doctor is. They can call us and we can assist them. That's what we call the travel assistance. Any emergency medical evacuation. Let's say there's a war, an emergency, the host country that requires for the group or for the individual to be returned home, the policy will cover that. So that's what makes the global plans, both the A and the B, comprehensive. So we take care from the medical to the third-party liability to the travel assistance. That will be all be taken care of.
So I guess on the flip side, is there anything not included in the plans that students should know about?
Yes, I think it's important to realize that any pre-existing medical conditions that the individual might have, let's say diabetes or any immunocompromised illness, or any, I will call it like people suffer from migraines. That's not diabetes or immunocompromised, but it's like what do you call it, a current or ongoing condition, right? I get migraines 3 times a year. So I know that that's not, so if it's a pre-existing condition that I need to take medications for a long time, that might not be covered by the policy. So what I will suggest is always contact our customer care team. Their email address is in our website, but I will repeat it. It's customercare@guard.me. If you have any questions, or if the student has any questions related to an existing condition that they have and they want to confirm coverage, like say, I'm not sure if this or that might be covered, give us a call and we can confirm yes or no, and you can continue or start planning accordingly. So basically, I would say that's not included in the plan. Pre-existing conditions. I always mention the over-the-counter medications because most of the students, they don't know, but any Advil, Tylenol, and all those little medications that we can grab out of a shelf at a supermarket or a drugstore, most likely they won't be covered. So it's always good to have that in mind.
Sounds good. So I know that you've touched on Plan A and Plan B. Is there one major difference between the two plans?
Oh, yes. So basically, our Plan A is the most comprehensive plan, and it will include the travel assistance, the trip cancellation, trip interruption, and trip delay, versus the Plan B, which is the second best. It will be everything but the trip cancellation, the trip interruption, or the trip delay. Other than that, all the benefits are included. The two of them will have a third-party liability in the event for a good substantial benefit. It's about $1 million for the third-party liability. In the event that some major damages will be caused in a building or a house or another person, actually, if there's an accident, there's a coverage also included, a benefit included in the plan.
Okay. So how would a University of Guelph student go about purchasing travel insurance, and how would they go about making a claim?
Absolutely. So there is two steps. Students can go, actually, the website that you have created for the students is very well explanatory. So you can go into the site and look at the difference between the A and the B. But when the student is ready to purchase the plan, go into the customized site, www.guard.me/Guelph International. I'll repeat it. It's www.guard.me/Guelph International. And then they can select the policy that they would like to purchase. So if they, it's very simple. It's like a shopping online. And they can purchase through Visa, MasterCard. And it's a matter of minutes, they will have the policy right away. And how they do a claim is very simple. So the policy, any expenses they made abroad, please keep the receipts, the physical receipt, and take a picture of the receipt. Once you get into a computer, make sure that you upload it. You go into the GuardMe website and click on Submit a Claim, follow the steps, and voila, you can upload the receipts and select how you want the money to be transferred to you.
Sounds good. Seems fairly straightforward. Is there any other tips or advice you would give to students who are looking to go abroad to have a healthy and safe travel experience?
I always advise what it works for me when I travel abroad. So I always ask them and suggest that they bring along one of those little medicine bags or something with over-the-counter medications, or if they have a specific prescription medications that work for them or their conditions, bring them with them. Let's say I'm going for a 3-month period, make sure that your family doctor here will fill the prescription for those 3 months, so you are covered ahead of time. You don't have to worry about getting a doctor's visit to get the prescription renewed. I will do that. That's a very important thing to have. If you have your go-to medications, let's say something for the migraines or for stomach aches or something that you usually have, bring them with you as well. Another good piece of advice that I've given, it has worked for me as well, is once you know where you're going to be living abroad, try to do a search and see where the nearest doctor's office, walk-in clinic, or a hospital is located. So in the event that you need to visit, you know where to go. You don't have to waste time trying to find or call us or do the whole work around it. You already know where to go. And even if there's a language barrier that you have to overcome, you already are ahead of the game. So I will say those two things are important.
Those are definitely some practical tips. I would also mention to our students that in terms of preparing for your time abroad, we do offer a lot of information and advice on our online pre-departure program, Depart Smart. So students can refer to Depart Smart for more information as well. So that's all for today's episode of the Study Abroadcast. Don't forget to explore your own study abroad opportunities on the CIP website, uoguelph.ca/CIP, or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Our Instagram handle is CIP_Guelph. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Lucia for sharing your advice, insights, and travel stories. And stay tuned to our next episode where we look to unpack the study abroad experience even further.
Thank you so much, Mike, and travel safe.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right.